Champions League lining up 3 format changes for next season after complaint from Arsenal. Let's see if the headline actually matches up with actually what's being said, Mr. Sam Brooks. UEFA are considering some changes for next season's Champions League. One change could be brought in following a complaint from Arsenal. Let's see again if this actually matches up. Let's see if Arsenal is the only club. Let's see if it's as cool as the headline suggests. Nonetheless, UEFA allegedly are reportedly considering 3 significant format changes to be brought in for next season's Champions League. The first season of the newly expanded competition is reaching its conclusion with Arsenal. It sounds good to be in the semis, isn't it? Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts if you believe Arsenal will win the Champions League or who you believe will. But on a serious note, Arsenal, PSG, Barcelona and Inter Milan are all in the hunt to be crowned champions of Europe. With the semi-finals just days away, UEFA are already looking ahead to how they can improve the competition for 2025-26, and they could act on one issue that has been raised by the Gunners. According to Blind, which a report is coming out of Germany, it's nothing to do with, Arsenal necessarily in the country we live in. I'd give it a bit more credibility if it was, emerging British sources. Yes, I know football is universal, but according to Blind, UEFA may change their rules so that teams finishing higher in the league phase get home advantage for the return leg in the knockout stages, which it would make sense, really and truly, especially obviously I want everything in Arsenal's favor, but it would have obviously, it didn't really matter what Arsenal did at the Emirates or the Bernabeu. We dealt with business same way. Saka, Rice, Lewis Skelly, Kivior, Arteta, the list goes on. We dealt with business the same way, but it would have been nice to play the first leg at the Bernabeu and have the quote-unquote home advantage. That's what Real Madrid were relying on. You saw the academy players welcoming in their first teamers. You saw the atmosphere around it, closing the roof, social media hype, psych themselves out. So, yeah, naturally. And against Paris Saint-Germain, obviously, I look at Aston Villa, who I think did a lot better, and Liverpool. The Parc de France, or whatever it's called, is not a nice place to necessarily go to. So I think naturally that should happen. But anyways, it is what it is. You got to be able to play in any conditions. The 8 teams that qualified automatically for the knockout rounds played at home in the second leg in the last 16 this season. But this is currently not the case for the quarterfinals or semi-finals. As a result, Arsenal played the second leg of their quarterfinal win against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, despite finishing 8 positions above the Spanish giants in the league table. Mikel Arteta's men still managed to progress 5-1 on aggregate after winning both legs. It still feels a bit surreal saying such. So where's our complaint then? They'll also have to travel to Paris for the second leg of the semi-finals with PSG next month. Arsenal finished 3rd in the league phase, while PSG were 15th and had to come through the playoff round. Playing the second leg at home is widely seen as an advantage, and Arsenal are believed to be annoyed that this has been taken away from them after they excelled in the league phase. It will feel that much sweeter where, we lift certain things. Another change being considered is the removal of extra time. UEFA are understood to be looking into sending ties that finish all square straight to penalties to ease player workload. That could be a shout, and it makes it even more entertaining. The final alteration could be brought in the final alteration that could be brought in concerns teams from the same country playing each other. This season's Champions League saw PSG face Brest in the playoff round, while Bayern Munich played Leverkusen, and Real Madrid faced Atletico Madrid in the last 16. What do you lot make of this so far, people? Because I hear that, but I'm not really fussed about teams playing each other. However, these ties are not viewed as attractive for fans and broadcasters, so that tells you everything. And UEFA could opt to bring back the protection rule that means teams from the same nation cannot play each other until the quarterfinals. This rule was previously in place prior to the competition changing to 36 sides, so more expanded club competitions. Club World Cup, which I hope to be in next year, the Champions League. They don't care about the governing bodies do not care about player welfare. They care about TV rights, viewership, obviously money. I hear all of this, people, but yeah. The club's competition committee is due to meet to discuss the proposals in Munich on May the 30th, just one day before this season's final at the Allianz Arena, where spare a thought for Bayern. If you care, Arsenal fans, they won't be there. So where's any evidence of an official Arsenal complaint? I'm sure they're just asking, they're referring to the fact that we had to play the second legs in such conditions. But I remember Mikel Arteta gave a press conference and he indirectly spoke about, naturally, like all teams would want to play in their backyard in the second leg if they had to pick people. Let's see what Kivior has said. we feel very good because this is big history for us. After the Real Madrid game, we feel very confident inside. I hope we can continue to play that way in the semi-finals of the Champions League. We always feel confident because it's a good feeling being where we are. I feel it inside the dressing room every time the players are confident and they know what they want to do on the pitch. Big up Kivio, because I think you're probably the most shyest of all the players we have. So nice to see you speaking like this, and obviously what you've been doing since you've been put into the team. We know that Liverpool just need one more win to win the league, but we're looking at ourselves to finish the season in the league as high as possible and also focus on the Champions League semi-final. Liverpool played really well the whole season, won wonders, had refereeing decisions not gone against us at the Emirates, and had we have stayed held on to a 2-goal lead against Aston Villa and the other isms and schisms, what could have been. But Liverpool deserve to be champions. They deserve the guard of honor. They deserve all of that, people. Unfortunately, we conceded a few times in games we should have won, and that's why Liverpool are close to winning the championship. Bang on the money, Jakub Kiwi, or the Polish Maldini. We know that the Premier League is one of the strongest leagues in the world, and this level is definitely very high. If we fight for the third season to win the Premier League, it also means we're at a very good level and that we're really close to winning this league. This is another good motivation to fight for victory in the next season. Will you be here next season? Have you had a change of heart if you were considering leaving to get game time? Do you believe you can compete with Gabriel Magalhaes? Has the manager told you something different? Or, is your aim to just finish as high as possible in the league, potentially win the Champions League? And he's been linked with a whole load of Italian clubs, and we're still linked with defenders, which we're going to get onto in a moment. Odegaard makes pointed dig at as Arsenal captain opens up on Real Madrid victory. Odegaard admits he was proud that Arsenal showed the courage to actually head to Real Madrid and attack as they landed a notable Champions League win. Careful, they say we don't score from open play. They say we're not a creative side. I don't think we're tick-a-tacker or Wengerable, but we can attack. We can score goals in a variety of ways. And whatever people say about our level of defending, that has seen us have a great record against the top six. Us, not that we're happy about being second, but naturally us being near the higher of the table and, get better and better year in, year out in the Champions League, really. Why would you want to be naive? Look at Spurs. I don't want to trade places with them, man. But yeah, we all know the 5-1 aggregate lead was a movie. Saka not only missing a penalty, but then dinking Courtois, Rice's performance, the two fullbacks we have, and obviously Martinelli scoring as well as Mikel Merino having a good performance as part of a great collective display was a movie. And we had a memorable 3-0 win over Los Blancos at the Emirates. And then obviously we beat them 2-1 at their place, which I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And 1-5-1 on aggregate. What has Odegaard said, though? We feel completely ready to beat them again. But if you go away to Madrid and want to win there, then you have to be properly on it. It's a stadium that's special in terms of history. They had a lot of crazy games and results there, especially in the Champions League. So it's about staying focused, doing our thing, and making sure we win the game again. I was so pleased we had the courage to play our own game in the Bernabeu, and you was involved in the second goal. A lot of teams go there and end up not doing anything. But in the second half, especially, we used the ball more, and you could see the space open up. Careful, Odegaard, because I agree, and I don't think you're wrong. But Lucas Vázquez keeps saying we didn't come to play. I'm happy to be in the next round of the Champions League, regardless of what happens, people. Apparently, Mikel Arteta spoke on our approach in the Champs. He said to win it, it's the same as we did in London. Our preparation for the game has been about the things that we have to do, the things that we have to dominate throughout the game in different phases to give us the best possible chance to win. That's clear in our mindset and the way we're going to play. The only time Real Madrid matched us is Jude Bellingham throwing his toys out the pram, Carvajal acting up at halftime, all of the social media talk and the "we're Real Madrid" stuff, which is all true. But when you keep professing it, there's clearly some sort of insecurity. We all know, forget Real, and not necessarily Real Madrid fans, I'm talking about the actual club. We all know people that don't support Real Madrid, the aura, the history. You can't call a man duppy until they're dead. Like, they always rise from the ashes, not against us, because we got cannons on our crest for a reason. Moving on, though, people. Fabrizio Romano previously said on Bournemouth's centre-back Heinsohn, from what I'm hearing, Arsenal are also interested in Dean Heinsohn. Newcastle dream of him, but I think it's going to be very difficult to get a deal done now with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal. These three clubs are really interested. We've also heard subsequent rumors that he's not coming in to allegedly replace neither Gabriel Magalhaes or William Saliba, but rather complement them. And I wonder what that would mean for a number of our other players, like Kivio, who's a centre-half, able to play fullback, or our fullbacks able to play centre-half, people. Apparently, there's been an update on his future, though. He transfer twist as Bournemouth star seriously considers early switch, people. Chelsea have taken the lead in the race to sign him allegedly, people. He's been linked with a whole host of clubs. Apparently, Chelsea hope to complete his move to Stamford Bridge ahead of this summer's Club World Cup. He's got a 50 million release clause and has suitors in the shape of Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle. But the independent report that 20-year-old is giving serious consideration to a switch to the Blues. I mean, Chelsea will get their project right. They have got a rich history of recent years. There's also the London aspect. And when you look at it from a team perspective, you could go to Liverpool. Van Dijk signed a new deal. Konate is linked with a move away, but there's them two. I'm not saying he can't play ahead of them or compete or whatnot, but they've got that. The same said for Arsenal as well, people. Where obviously you've got Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. You look at Chelsea, Levi, Colwill, Wesley Fofana, all them other guys. Heinsohn probably backs himself like, yeah, I can make this my own. They're willing to offer him a 7-year deal, people. He made 27 appearances to date at this moment in time as Bournemouth attempt to have their best ever place finish in the division, people. And he's not the only Bournemouth player to be linked with a move away. Semenyo and Kirkes, who's been linked with Real Madrid, like his teammate, has been linked with a move away as well, people. Real Madrid apparently have been interested, but are said to have decided against a move for him this summer. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. Apparently, he's reportedly given himself a month to decide on his future. And also Bayern Munich has been listed here. So we'll have to watch that one closely, people. We all know he's got plenty of clubs. Allegedly, Arsenal expected to be in the market for centre-half cover this summer. Kivior could be sold, and injuries this season to versatile defenders Benjamin White, Calafiori and Tomiyasu. I mean, what we've seen with Calafiori so far, he picks up injuries. Unfortunately, Tomiyasu's name is probably next to injury or injuries in the dictionary. As much as I love him, he's only played 6 Premier League minutes, people. Ben White, he was probably due that hamstring, not much like Saka, Martinelli, and Kai Havertz. They've played a lot of football. We all know people were over-reliant on Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba, and unfortunately, Gabriel Magalhaes' season is done, people. However, Arteta's most pressing needs are in attack, where statement signings at centre-forward and out wide are planned, and in central midfield, where Partey and Jorginho are due to be out of contract, and Martin Zubimendi, the number one target. As such, it is unlikely Arsenal will find another 50 million to splash out on a centre half who would have little chance of disrupting the established partnership between Saliba and Gabriel. Joel Hato of Ajax remains a target and potentially at a more realistic price. The one thing that could move the dial would be if transfer interest again ramped up in Gabriel. The Brazilian only has 2 years left to run in his contract and has previously been a target for Saudi clubs. Now, I've indirectly made a case for him at Chelsea. I think he'd be good there. You'd be an idiot to go to Spurs, but you'd play a lot of football there. And Romero, as soon as Spurs got battered, he basically said, oh, I'd love to play in Spain. What does that tell you? That probably tells you the rumors about he wants to go Atletico or whatever are true, people. And it seems like a lot of those players at Spurs are unhappy. Naturally, Arsenal fan Kulusevski also had some damning statements. So you play a lot of football there, but I don't think it would make sense. And is it that much of a step up from Bournemouth? Charles Watson, Thomas Partey, and let me know your thoughts. I did cover this in a previous video, but I'll do it again. Smash the like button. The expectation has been that Thomas Partey will leave at the end of the season. But as far as I'm aware, there's a feeling maybe that Arsenal are actually now willing to enter into negotiations about an extension, but that has not happened yet. There's a sense from people I've spoken to that there's a bit of a change and Arsenal would potentially be open to keeping him. Whereas before, the feeling with Partey's side was this isn't going to happen. Arsenal aren't open for discussions, people. Mikel Arteta on Bukayo Saka's contractual situation. When the time comes, we'll have those conversations. And I'm sure the club is very on top of it. I think Bukayo has been very clear what his intentions are as well. So I think everything is in the right place, people. And as you know, allegedly, Arsenal are progressing very well in their talks to extend his deal. The star is set to become the highest paid player at the club, and rightly so. I'm tired of hearing about Zubimendi. Zubimendi, make up your mind. Smash the like button if you agree with me, people. Arsenal have almost finalized the signing of Martin Zubimendi after positive talks recently, with Andrea Berta pushing to have the transfer completed in the coming weeks. Zubimendi has made Arsenal his priority. It depends what side of the bed these journalists wake up, people, and I guess we won't know at least until the future. Respectfully to Ben Jacobs, I don't know if he's the most credible. Xabi Alonso's been linked with a move to Real Madrid. He's the one that gave Zubimendi his opportunity, as well as Real Madrid just being great. Apparently, Arsenal remain keen on Zubimendi deal despite claims of Real Madrid interest. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has said the interest in Zubimendi is not concrete from Real Madrid. It might be if Xabi Alonso ends up being the manager, but Arsenal are confident they're going to get that one over the line, people. We've also placed Frankfurt, that is sensation. Hugo Ekitike on our list of options, and Benjamin Sesko and Gyökeres have also been name dropped. We're also again being linked with Vlahovic. I don't know if you lot want to believe it or not. Our young guy Alexi Rojas apparently has signed a new contract with the club until 2026. The plan is for him to work with the first team next season, as Arsenal often use 4 goalkeepers during training sessions. I hear it. Doesn't play that much for the under 21s. I would argue he's getting to that age now where you have to look at the pathway. If Arsenal go and sign Garcia, they've obviously got Neto at current on the bench. They've obviously got David Raya. Are you going to break through here? And at some point, you're going to either need to leave on a temporary basis to go on loan or leave permanently. You would imagine Tommy Setford goes on loan, and you'd imagine Karl Heinz not at the club next season. But what do I know? Got quite a few keepers on the books, and we still need 1 or 2. Moving away from that, you would have heard Dean Jones say Arsenal are yet to fully make up their minds on whether they'll make a move for Nico Williams, but the player is a key target. Give Me Sports sources have confirmed. Arteta would also love to bring him to the club. Private suggestions to Give Me Sport have confirmed that although Arsenal are wary of how much Williams is going to demand in terms of salary, the player will not let such an element stand in the way of him making a move if that's what he decides to do. Now, we've heard Berta likes him. Berta's held talks with his agent. Arteta likes him. Obviously, we need a striker, but we need a wide forward, primarily someone that's more realistically going to start, or realistically have the opportunity to start week in, week out on the left-hand side, and, probably deputize between Nwaneri, Martinelli, in theory, Nico Williams for this example. If Saka needs a rest or he's not there, they can play over there. But going back to what I said, if we've done our due diligence, why are we yet to be fully convinced? Because it can't be about the player's technical level, whatever we think he can be in the short, medium, and long term. It might be about, the wages. It can't be about the fee, quote unquote. If you activate the release clause, Bob's your uncle. I don't know if Arsenal want to take that route, or if they want to, use that ballpark release clause figure and say, listen, we'll give you a bit more over time, in which that presents an issue to Bilbao, because he's clearly a key player with Bilbao. They obviously want him to stay playing in the Europa League, potentially could win the Europa League with them and be in the Champions League next year. If you want him, play the release clause in full. So that could be an issue. Or is it because whether he wants to stay at Bilbao, go to Barcelona, come to the Premier League, but not necessarily Arsenal? Is that why we're not convinced? This is all rumors, but God knows, people. Let me know your thoughts. Again, allegedly, TBR is saying Andrea Berta is becoming increasingly keen on signing Gyökeres. The club want a win now striker edition, and Berta believes Gyökeres might be the final piece of the jigsaw. Arsenal have continued to do their work on Gyökeres and have been conducting background checks, as they do on all major targets. Those reports have all been glowing as a person and character, aside from his talent on the pitch, which the club already convinced about. But whether it's Zubimendi, Gyökeres, Nico Williams, even Heinz Hansen, everybody wants good players. Good players are not going to be short of offers, people. Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri allegedly are both in the final stages of securing long-term contracts at Arsenal's football club. They're very, they are part of the short term, what we're doing now, the medium term, the next couple of years, and obviously the long term. We want to see Nwaneri have he's had a breakout season, but not to the level of Lewis-Skelly's. He'll probably have that sooner rather than later, and he's a great player. Whether he's going to be a striker, an 8, a 10, a right winger, who cares? Just make sure Nwaneri comes through at this club, and he's probably the best finisher in the club now. Really, I would have said it's Trossard. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I think, early shout. The man's 18, been in the first team a matter of months, but they are significantly older than him. But the players that are older than him are not necessarily the oldest. But when we talk about captains, no disrespect to Odegaard, he is the captain. Some would even say left field choice. I've heard Timber, Declan Rice, Gabriel Magalhaes. There might be some more. Surely Miles Lewis-Skelly, if he continues doing what he's doing, he's got captain's material, because we can waffle about if he could be an 8, a 6, or a 4, a left back long term, or a centre mid, his technical abilities, ball manipulation, his strongness, all of those things. But the temperament, the want to believe that despite I've come from the academy, I can hang here at the professional level. I think he's got captain mentality, people, and captain material. The Kudus stuff is probably dead, but nonetheless, West Ham allegedly want to sell Mohamed Kudus this summer to fund their own transfer kitty. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool allegedly, according to the source Court Offside, are all interested in such people. Court Offside are also the same publication saying that Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester United are all considering launching ambitious bids for PSG forward Ousmane Dembele. Let me know your thoughts on that, people. Apparently, again, let me know your thoughts on this. Arsenal made contact with Jules Akonde of Barcelona, but the fullback has already made it clear that he has no interest in leaving Barcelona this summer. Fabrizio Romano says Jorginho is still expected to leave Arsenal as a free agent at the end of the season. Flamengo have already presented their proposal to the player for a free move. No current negotiations ongoing with Neom FC in Saudi Arabia. Aston Villa are set to beat Arsenal and Manchester City to the signing of Rosenberg's 18-year-old midfielder Suave Nepan. And apparently Manchester City, Liverpool and Arsenal will all compete with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich for the signature of Florian Wirtz this summer. Bayern Leverkusen value him at 103 million. I mean, I'm having Wirtz, I'm having Gyökeres, I'm having Zubimendi, I'm having Nico Williams. I think they all improve our team and make us better. But that costs a lot of money. That's before we even talk about any other areas that Mikel Arteta wants. That's before talking about whatever budget we have, factoring in the contract renewals and who's actually moved on. So I guess it'll be a very interesting summer in that regards, people. Arsenal giving the green light to sign best player in the world. To be fair, Rafinha, if they win the Ballon d'Or, I mean, if you win the Champions League, you've got a chance to win the Ballon d'Or. Allegedly, according to Graham Bailey, via intermediaries, people, it's been indicated to Arsenal that a summer move for Rafinha is possible, and the Gunners are keeping close tabs on the 28-year-old situation. I mean, we did want him along with Chelsea before he obviously ended up at Barcelona. He has been in great form, 30 goals and 23 assists in 49 appearances. And he spoke about how he was once close to leaving Barcelona before Hansi Flick walked in. So the manager's changed his fortunes. And probably the biggest nonsense that we're going to read today, Arsenal hold behind-the-scenes talks over Kingsley Coman deal. Now, I have no doubt that at some period, maybe last summer, maybe in January, or at some point, we've spoken with Coleman. He was actually, do you remember the game against Newcastle where Theo Walcott scored that goal where he's falling on the floor? We tried to get him when he was like 16, 17, 18. Now, I'm not against Kingsley Coman, but this would tell me that's plan Z. That's, you've tried Nico Williams, you've tried this one, you've tried that one, you've tried the third, and it's not happened. The injuries, the wages he'd want to be on, and I don't 100% know how he ties in with what we're doing away from his great. He's clearly a good baller. It does not make sense, people. So, yeah, man, we have to take everything with a pinch of salt. If anything, the rumors just present us with an opportunity to humor ourselves. And again, people, as we keep going, let me know what you lot think. Smash the like button.